The drizzle in Seoul wet the windows of the grand funeral home in Gangnam. Yin stood upright beside her older brother, Minju, staring at the photo of their parents adorned with a gently waving black ribbon. The 22-year-old's beautiful face looked pale, her usually bright eyes now dimmed with sorrow. "Dad, Mom," Yin whispered softly, her voice almost drowned out by the gentle instrumental music playing in the room. Minju, 26, held his sister's hand tightly. As the man who now had to take over their father's position as CEO of the family construction company, he tried to appear strong even though his heart was shattered. The plane crash that took their parents 3 days ago felt like a nightmare that wouldn't end. "We have to be strong, Yin. Dad and Mom would want to see us keep moving forward," Minju said, his voice trembling. Yin nodded weakly. As a recent graduate who had just started her career at the family company, she felt her world collapse in an instant. She had just finished college and had just begun working in their family business. She had thought this was the start of a beautiful new chapter in her life, but who would have imagined that this tragedy would strike so suddenly, shattering everything? Guests arrived one by one. Office employees with somber faces, her father's business associates whispering about the company's future, extended family embracing them with tearful eyes, and childhood friends coming to offer support. "Minju." The familiar voice made Minju turn. A handsome man in a black suit approached with confident steps, tall and poised, with a firm yet warm face. "Jungkook," Minju was surprised. "You came." Jeon Jungkook, Minju's high school friend whom he hadn't seen in years, bowed respectfully in front of Yin and Minju's parents' photo. They had been very close but parted ways during college, Minju studying international business while Jungkook pursued medicine. "Sorry, I couldn't come sooner. I only heard the news from Yoonwoo last night," Jungkook continued, his face full of regret. "It's okay. The important thing is that you're here." Minju hugged his friend briefly. "This is my little sister, Yin." Jungkook turned, and for the first time, his eyes met Yin's. Time seemed to pause. She looked fragile yet beautiful even in her grief. There was something in Yin's gaze that made Jungkook's heart race uncontrollably. "My condolences," Jungkook said gently, bowing politely. Yin only gave a faint smile and nodded. "Thank you." Jungkook swallowed hard. Yin's voice was so melodious, even though it sounded weary. He wanted to talk longer, but the moment wasn't right. As a doctor, he knew well that times like this were the hardest for someone. 2 weeks had passed since the funeral. Their luxurious family home felt unusually quiet, as if silence itself had settled into every corner. The morning sunlight filtering through thin curtains highlighted tiny dust particles floating in the air, adding to the stillness. Yin sat at the large dining table, staring at the empty chair across from her, the chair her parents would normally occupy. The only music filling the room was the clinking of spoons against plates and the occasional whispers of the maids in the kitchen. Minju sat across from her, his face tense but trying to appear calm. He stirred his rice, then looked at his sister. "Yin, eat more," he said softly, though a hint of worry seeped through. "You're getting thinner." Yin lowered her gaze, stirring her soup listlessly. "You too," she replied quietly, avoiding Minju's eyes. "Yesterday, I noticed your office suit looked loose on you." Minju gave a bitter smile, though it didn't reach his eyes. "Maybe I've lost weight from stress. There's so much I still need to learn at the office. Dad had already started teaching me before he passed, but I still feel like I'm not learning fast enough." His voice softened, yet a rigidity lingered in his expression. Silence enveloped them. Yin kept stirring her soup, staring at her bowl as if she could find answers there. Her eyes were puffy, dark circles deepening. Sometimes she blinked rapidly, holding back tears that threatened to fall. Minju looked at her with concern. "Yin, what time did you sleep last night?" he asked gently but firmly. Yin seemed confused, clutching her spoon absent-mindedly. What time? Maybe 3 or 4 in the morning." "What?" Minju nearly choked on his rice. 4 a.m.? And you woke up at 6 to get ready for work? That's only 2 hours of sleep." Yin lowered her head, cheeks reddening in embarrassment. I couldn't sleep, brother. Every time I close my eyes, I keep thinking about Dad and Mom. It feels like something is missing in this house." Her voice trembled as she fought back tears in front of Minju. Minju's heart clenched. He felt the same loss, but as the older brother, he had to stay strong. Yet seeing his sister deteriorate day by day, he could no longer stay silent. He gently patted her back. "We're going to the hospital today," Minju said firmly, looking at Yin with concern he couldn't hide. Yin frowned, almost offended. "What? Brother, I'm not sick." Minju leaned a little closer, meeting her gaze. "Yin, Look at your eyes, panda eyes, and you're getting thinner. This is no longer just a sleep problem. I don't want to wait until you completely lose your mind. What? You're so mean, brother. I'm not crazy, Yin shouted, her voice trembling, revealing her own fear. I'm not saying you're crazy now, Minju reassured, patting her hands. I'm just afraid you'll be if this continues. So we're going to the hospital today, right now. Yin lowered her head, biting her lower lip, holding back a storm of emotions, anger, fear, and sadness. She knew Minju was right. Honestly, she really needed something to help her sleep peacefully at night. Seoul National University Hospital buzzed with morning activity. The wheels of gurneys squeaked, nurses' voices echoed, and patient announcements blared from speakers along the long corridor. The bright white lights reflected off the polished floors, giving a clean yet busy feeling. Yin and Minju had just left the psychiatrist's office, carrying a small bag filled with sleep aids and mild antidepressants. Oh my, I feel like a lunatic just leaving a mental hospital, Yin complained, staring at the bag with a frown, her hair slightly messy and her face still showing the dark circles of sleepless nights. Minju chuckled softly. Hey, that's a psychiatrist, not a mental asylum doctor. You're not crazy, you just need some help sleeping. But it still feels weird. Am I really at an age where I need sleeping pills like an old lady? What old lady takes sleeping pills? They usually have trouble waking up, Minju teased, patting her shoulder. Yin lightly hit him, smiling. Brother, you're mean. They laughed together, a light, warm laugh that felt strange yet comforting, as if it were the first one they had shared after a long period of grief. Their laughter abruptly stopped when someone called Minju's name from nearby. Minju? They turned. Jungkook stood a few steps away, wearing a crisp white coat with a stethoscope around his neck. His face was fresh, professional, yet his warm smile immediately made the surrounding air feel lighter. Jungkook, you work here? Minju asked in surprise. Yes, for almost a year now. I'm a general physician here, Jungkook replied with a smile, briefly glancing at Yin, making her heart race. Why are you two here? He asked, looking between Minju and Yin. Is someone sick? Minju quickly explained. Yin has insomnia. We just came from the psychiatrist. Yin smacked her brother's arm, blushing. Brother, why'd you say it like that? Jungkook chuckled at Yin's adorable reaction. Insomnia after losing parents is normal. Many patients experience the same thing. Really? Yin looked slightly relieved, still avoiding his eyes. Of course, stress and grief can affect sleep, appetite, even mood, Jungkook explained calmly. By the way, my morning schedule is free. Want to go to the hospital cafe? My treat. Yin glanced at Minju, hesitant. Brother, is it okay? Aren't you supposed to be at the office? Aish. Being a little late won't hurt. Besides, I own the company, Minju replied boastfully yet playfully. The arrogant CEO, Yin laughed softly. Jungkook smiled, watching their antics. Then let's find a comfortable seat. I'm sure you need some coffee and a little break after the past 2 weeks. The three of them walked down the hospital corridor. The sound of their shoes echoed, but it no longer felt awkward. Yin felt something different that day, something that made the air around warmer. Occasionally, she stole glances at Jungkook, and each time their eyes met, a familiar yet strange feeling stirred in her chest. In the hospital cafe, the aroma of coffee and toasted bread filled the small, cozy room. Jungkook ordered 3 drinks while Minju and Yin sat across from each other. Minju watched his sister, trying to hold back a small smile as he saw Yin smile again, a laugh that felt like a flicker of light after long dark days. So, how long have you been struggling with insomnia? Jungkook asked in a professional yet caring tone. About 2 weeks, since our parents passed away, Yin replied softly. What time do you usually fall asleep? 3 or 4 in the morning, sometimes even closer to dawn. Jungkook nodded understandingly. And dreams? Any nightmares or strange dreams? Yin shook her head. No, that's the problem. I don't dream at all. It feels empty. Minju observed the conversation closely. He could feel Jungkook's special attention toward Yin, and strangely, he didn't mind. Jungkook was a trusted old friend. Oh, by the way, Jungkook shifted the topic. How's work? Can you concentrate? Pretty well. Luckily, my brother is kind, so he doesn't get mad if I make mistakes, Yin said, her eyes sparkling as she glanced at Minju. Aish. Who said I'm kind? Yesterday you inputted the wrong data 3 times, Minju protested. That's because I was sleepy. Besides, you often make mistakes too. Yesterday, you pressed the wrong floor in the elevator. You were supposed to go to the 15th floor but pressed 5. Yes, that's because I didn't get enough sleep either, and it has nothing to do with work. Jungkook laughed, watching the siblings' playful bickering. You two are like Tom and Jerry. Which one am I, Tom or Jerry? Yin asked innocently. You're Jerry, small but mischievous, Minju replied quickly. Then you must be Tom, big but dumb, Yin countered. Hey Yin, I'm a genius, you know. Genius at what? Yesterday you wore mismatched socks, one black, one navy. Jungkook almost spat out his coffee, trying to hold back laughter. Seriously? Different colors? Minju's face turned red. It was still dark when I grabbed the socks. Besides, black and navy are very close colors, he defended himself, unwilling to lose face. Excuse. Yin laughed heartily. Seeing Yin laugh so freely, Jungkook felt warmth in his chest. She was adorable and strong, even while struggling with her own issues. Yin, Jungkook said gently, if you find it hard to sleep, don't force yourself to stare at the ceiling all night. Try reading a book or listening to calming music. What kind of music is good, doctor? Yin asked eagerly. Just call me Jungkook. No need for formalities, he smiled. Classical or instrumental music is great. Even nature sounds, like rain or waves, can help. Wow, Jungkook, you really are such a professional doctor, Minju praised. Of course, I am a doctor. Do you think I'm just cosplaying? Jungkook said with a teasing grin, unaware that Yin quietly smiled softly, quietly charmed by his charisma. Since the meeting at the hospital cafe, Jungkook had often been messaging Yin to check on her condition. At first, it was just simple questions like, have you taken your medicine? Or how did you sleep last night? But over time, their conversations became longer and more varied. Don't even ask how Jungkook got Yin's number. Of course, it was from Minju, and he was even more excited to learn that Minju actually supported him in getting closer to Yin. One afternoon, Yin was sitting at her office desk, yawning repeatedly, when her phone buzzed. Jungkook, Yin, have you had lunch yet? Yin, not yet, still drowning in work. Jungkook, don't skip meals, you'll have an even harder time sleeping. Yin, yes, doctor. Jungkook, want me to bring you some food at the office? I'm off duty right now. Yin froze at that last message. Her heart started beating faster. Jungkook wanted to bring her food? Yin, no need to trouble yourself. Jungkook, it's no trouble. Besides, I haven't eaten yet either. Yin, but. Jungkook, no buts. Wait for me in the lobby. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Yin stared at her phone, her face turning red. A strange flutter tickled her stomach. She rushed to the restroom to fix her appearance, brushing her hair and applying a thin layer of lip balm. What's going on? Why are you suddenly looking so pretty? Minju teased as he happened to pass by. No, I look normal. Do I usually look that bad? Yin stammered nervously. Who's coming? Jungkook. Brother. How do you know? Minju laughed. Your face already told me everything. Ugh, brother, you're so annoying, she said, stomping away on purpose, hard enough to make Minju stifle a laugh and shake his head. 30 minutes later. The glass doors of Yin's office lobby slid open, and even before Jungkook appeared, the faint aroma of delicious food drifted in. He stood casually, dressed in neat but simple clothes, holding a large paper bag filled with dishes from a famous Korean restaurant in Myeongdong. Wow, Jungkook, you really came, Yin exclaimed, half in disbelief, hurrying over to him. A few employees passing by glanced curiously at the handsome man bringing food for Yin. Of course, Jungkook replied with a warm smile. Yin let out a small laugh, trying to calm her quickening heartbeat. Let's eat in the breakout area. If we stay here, they'll think I'm slacking off. All right, Miss Workaholic, Jungkook teased, raising an eyebrow. The breakout area was quiet that afternoon, filled only with the faint hum of the coffee machine and soft conversation from the far corner. Yin chose a table near the window while Jungkook unpacked the paper bag. One by one, the food containers opened, colorful banchan, steaming bulgogi with its savory aroma, and warm rice. This is way too much, Jungkook, Yin protested, though her sparkling eyes betrayed her excitement. Did you bring the whole restaurant here? Nope, just half of it, Jungkook said with mock seriousness, ladling soup into a small bowl. You're too skinny. You need to eat more so you can recover quickly. Before Yin could even reach for her chopsticks, Jungkook held up a piece of bulgogi and fed it straight to her. Yin gasped but instinctively opened her mouth. Her cheeks turned crimson as a couple of passing employees glanced over and whispered among themselves. Good? Jungkook asked, watching her closely. Yin nodded quickly as she chewed. So good. Wow, this is from that famous restaurant in Myeongdong, isn't it? The one with the crazy long lines? For you, I don't mind standing in line, Jungkook said casually. Yin looked up, startled. Wait, seriously? Seriously, I even had to race an Andy who was after the bulgogi, Jungkook said with a mock pout. Luckily, I'm taller. Longer legs gave me the win. Yin burst out laughing. You're ridiculous, doctor. Even more ridiculous if I let my patient starve, Jungkook shot back playfully. Then his voice softened. Besides, he hesitated for a moment, choosing his words carefully. I like talking to you. Yin fell silent. Jungkook's gaze wasn't casual. There was a gentle warmth in it, something that made her feel safe, like someone was really paying attention, not just making small talk. You're really kind, Jungkook, Yin finally said with a soft smile. But I don't want to trouble you all the time. Who says it's trouble? Jungkook replied quickly. If it's for you, it's the opposite. It makes me happy. Yin could feel her face heating even more. To distract herself from the strange fluttering in her chest, she grabbed her chopsticks and scooped up some rice. Come on, let's eat together. Don't just feed me. Aren't you hungry too? Jungkook smiled faintly. Alright, let's eat. They continued their meal, the conversation flowing easily between bites, peppered with small laughter, something Yin hadn't felt in a long while. Outside the window, the midday sun shone brightly, and for the first time since her parents' funeral, the gloomy days seemed to crack open a little, letting in a quiet, comforting light carried by someone named Jungkook. Weeks passed, and Yin's relationship with Jungkook grew closer. Jungkook often stopped by her office during lunch breaks, took her on walks along the Hangang River on weekends, or simply accompanied her shopping in Hongdae. Every moment felt light, full of laughter, slowly erasing the lingering sorrow in Yin's heart. And this Saturday evening, they were walking together at Namsan Tower. The cool spring breeze swept gently, brushing against their faces. Seoul looked breathtaking from above, and the city lights began to sparkle one by one, like thousands of stars descending to earth. Yin. Jungkook suddenly stopped walking. Yes, Yin turned to him, her hair slightly tousled by the wind. I want to tell you something. His voice sounded heavy, as if he had to gather every ounce of courage within him. Yin's heartbeat quickened. What is it? Jungkook took a deep breath, his eyes fixed on hers without blinking. Ever since the first time I met you at the funeral home, I haven't been able to stop thinking about you. Yin froze, her face flushing, lips trembling slightly. I know that wasn't the right time to feel something like this, Jungkook continued softly, his voice quivering with emotion. You were grieving, but my heart was pounding the moment I saw you. And now, after getting to know you better, I'm even more certain. He swallowed hard, then spoke the words with a sincerity that left no room for doubt. I like you, Yin. No, it's more than just like, I love you. The night air suddenly felt warmer, or maybe it was just her cheeks burning. Tears welled up in Yin's eyes, not of sadness, but of overwhelming emotion she could no longer hold back. Jungkook. You don't have to answer now, Jungkook cut in quickly, afraid to pressure her. I just wanted you to know how I feel. Take your time. I don't want you to feel burdened. No, Yin shook her head gently, her lips curling into a small smile full of feeling. I'm ready. Jungkook blinked, stunned. You mean? Yin took a deep breath, then spoke in a trembling yet steady voice. I like you too, Jungkook. You've made my days so much brighter. When I'm with you, I feel like I can forget my sadness, even if just for a while. You make me feel alive again. Her smile bloomed, though her eyes glistened with tears. And thank you for that. You truly came into my life when I needed someone the most. Jungkook felt his chest tighten with overwhelming joy. Without another thought, he gently cupped Yin's face in his hands, gazing into her eyes before pressing a tender kiss to her forehead, long and lingering, as if he never wanted to let go. No, he whispered softly against her skin. I'm the one who should be thanking you, Yin. Thank you for letting me into your life. Yin closed her eyes for a moment, letting herself sink into the warmth of that moment. Around them, the sound of footsteps and the glitter of city lights seemed to fade, leaving only the two of them in their own little world. When Jungkook finally pulled back slowly, their eyes met again, both wearing the same genuine smile. Well then, Yin tried to joke, her voice trembling slightly. We should celebrate this confession with ice cream? Jungkook chuckled softly, his eyes still full of affection. All right, Miss Workaholic. Strawberry for you. Vanilla for me. Deal, Yin replied with a bright smile, the first true smile in a long time, one that was finally free of sorrow. 6 months later. Yin and Jungkook were married in a simple yet heartfelt ceremony. Minju proudly walked his sister down the aisle, his eyes glistening as he saw Yin in a beautiful white gown. "Take good care of her," Minju whispered to Jungkook. "I will. I'll protect her with my life," Jungkook promised. The atmosphere was warm, sacred, and filled with love. The applause of family and friends echoed as they sealed their vows. They lived in a luxurious penthouse in Gangnam with a maid taking care of the household chores. Their married life was harmonious. Jungkook was incredibly attentive and patient, while Yin tried to be a good wife even though she was still learning. But one problem remained unresolved. Yin was still struggling with insomnia and dependent on sleeping pills. That night, Yin had just stepped out of the bathroom, her hair still slightly damp, dressed in a simple white silk nightgown. In her hand was a small bottle of sleeping pills. Jungkook, sitting at the edge of the bed, looked at her with a serious yet gentle gaze. They had only been married for 4 days. "Baby," Jungkook called softly. "Yes, Jungkook." Yin turned to him, puzzled by his expression. "How long have you been taking those?" Yin bit her lip, thinking, almost 8 months. Why? Jungkook patted the edge of the bed lightly, signaling her to sit beside him. When Yin sat down, Jungkook took her hand firmly in his. "As a doctor, I know those pills help, but as your husband, I'm worried about the side effects if you take them for too long." Yin's face tensed. "What kind of side effects?" "Dependence," Jungkook replied gently. "Without them, you won't be able to sleep at all. Not to mention slowed reflexes, impaired muscle coordination, lowered blood pressure, and many other long-term effects." Yin lowered her head, anxious. "Then what should I do? I'm scared. If I don't take them, I won't be able to sleep at all, just like before." Jungkook pulled Yin into his arms, letting her rest her head against his broad chest. "I'll help you," he said, stroking her back in slow, soothing motions. "How?" Yin's voice was barely above a whisper, as if afraid to hear the answer. "Trust me," Jungkook whispered, his eyes steady and full of resolve. "Starting tonight, I'll be the one keeping you safe until you fall asleep." Yin looked at Jungkook uncertainly. "Trust you? What do you mean?" Her voice trembled, still haunted by the fear of sleepless nights. Jungkook brushed his hand gently through her hair, a warm smile curving his lips. "Tonight, you won't rely on pills. You'll rely on me." Yin swallowed hard, her heart pounding faster. "And what if I still can't sleep?" "If you don't sleep, then I won't either. We'll go through it together, but I'm sure you'll be asleep before you even realize it." Jungkook stood up and switched off the main lights, leaving only the warm golden glow of the bedside lamp, filling the room with a soft and intimate atmosphere. Pulling back the blanket, Jungkook opened his arms. "Come here," he said gently. "Sleep right here." Yin hesitated for a moment, then stepped closer. Jungkook softly guided her until her head rested against his chest. "Listen," he whispered. "Feel my heartbeat. Follow its rhythm. Slow, steady." She pressed her ear against his broad chest. Thump, thump, thump. The sound of his heartbeat was steady and soothing. She closed her eyes, listening to the calm, even thump beneath Jungkook's chest. His warm breath brushed against her temple. "It feels strange but calming," Yin murmured. Jungkook began stroking Yin's hair gently, his fingers gliding slowly from the crown of her head down to her nape. The motion was incredibly soothing. "Now, breathe with me. 1, 2, 3, and exhale slowly." His voice was low, husky, yet filled with a comforting tenderness. They repeated the rhythm several times until Yin's breathing naturally aligned with his. Jungkook then rubbed her back in slow, repetitive motions. "Baby, you're not alone anymore. Those dark nights are over. If you feel restless, hold my hand. If you feel afraid, open your eyes. I'll always be right here beside you." Yin opened her eyes briefly, gazing at his face just inches away. There was a soft light in his eyes, as though he was truly guarding her from the world. "Jungkook," her voice was hoarse. "Why are you so good to me?" Jungkook smiled, gently wiping away the tears gathering at the corners of her eyes with his thumb. "Because now you're my wife, and I want every night you live to feel safe, even without sleeping pills." Yin couldn't find the words to respond. Only warmth spread through her chest, slowly lulling her to sleep. Jungkook kissed her forehead lingeringly, like a prayer whispered without words. "Sleep, baby. I'm not going anywhere." Yin nodded, laying her head back down on her husband's broad chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. Jungkook. I love you." Jungkook smiled in the dark. "I love you too, baby." Sleepiness finally washed over her. Jungkook's heartbeat was like the perfect lullaby, and his gentle caress over her head made every muscle relax. Jungkook, she whispered faintly. Yes? Don't stop stroking my hair. I won't. I'll keep stroking your hair until you fall asleep. With her breathing growing slower and steadier, Yin finally drifted off on Jungkook's chest. She didn't notice when his arms tightened protectively around her, as if silently promising to guard her dreams all night long. Jungkook simply watched her peaceful face, smiling with relief, because for the first time, Yin had fallen asleep without medication. A few days later, the nights that followed carried on with their new ritual. Jungkook patiently stroked Yin's hair, gently massaged her shoulders, and let her fall asleep listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. Jungkook, Yin murmured one night as she hugged his waist tightly, "Why does your heartbeat make me feel this calm?" "Maybe because my heart beats for you," Jungkook replied softly, his voice romantic. "Aish, you're so cheesy." Yin laughed quietly, though her cheeks flushed pink. "Cheesy, but effective, right? Proof is, you can sleep now." "Well, yes, but aren't you tired? Stroking my head every night?" Jungkook kissed the crown of her head. "I'll never get tired. This is my way of showing you how much I love you." "Jungkook," Yin lifted her head to meet his eyes. "I feel so lucky to have met you." "I'm the lucky one, baby. You make my life complete." Their eyes lingered on each other in the dim glow of the bedside lamp. Jungkook brushed her cheek tenderly. "Now sleep. You have work tomorrow." "All right," Yin whispered, resting her head once again on Jungkook's chest. But barely 2 minutes into the comfortable silence, Yin's voice broke the stillness. "Jungkook," she murmured, her voice half a whisper. Jungkook answered without opening his eyes, still combing his fingers through her hair with a soothing rhythm. "Other than listening to your heartbeat, is there another way for someone to fall asleep easily?" she asked innocently, though her tone carried a hint of curiosity. Jungkook slowly opened his eyes, glancing at Yin's expectant face. A small smirk tugged at his lips. "There is," he said simply. Yin immediately lifted her head, eyes bright with curiosity. "What? Tell me." Jungkook held back a smile, his gaze glinting mischievously. "Are you sure you want to know?" "Of course, don't keep me hanging," Yin pouted, pinching his arm lightly. With a playful tone, Jungkook leaned closer and whispered in her ear, "Husband and wife intimacy." Yin froze, her entire face flushing crimson. "What, really? Or are you just making that up, huh?" Jungkook chuckled softly, watching her flustered reaction. "This isn't made up, baby. It's a fact. Scientifically proven, not a myth." Yin covered her face with both hands, then let out a small laugh from behind her fingers. "When I think about it, it does make sense. After that, we'd definitely be exhausted and eventually want to sleep." Jungkook nodded firmly. "Exactly. But it's not only about exhaustion. There's a biological process that makes your body truly relax." Yin peeked through her fingers, her face still burning. "Biological process?" Jungkook smiled gently, his tone warm yet serious. "When a husband and wife do that, the body releases several hormones. For example, endorphins, the happy hormones, significantly reduce stress. Then there's oxytocin, often called the love hormone. It creates a sense of comfort, safety, and strengthens the bond with your partner. And after the release, the body also releases prolactin and serotonin, which calm the body, relax the mind, and prepare you for deep sleep." Yin listened intently, her eyes shining, though her face remained red. "So, that's why people fall asleep afterward?" "Yes," Jungkook nodded, his gaze meaningful. "Your body shifts into its natural relaxation mode. That's why so many people say they sleep better after it." Yin bit her lip, laughing softly in embarrassment. "Aish, how can you explain this so calmly?" "Because I'm both your doctor and your husband," Jungkook teased, resting his forehead against hers. "And I'm only answering your question honestly." Yin laughed again, her blush deepening. "Such a mischievous doctor." Jungkook smiled warmly and pressed a kiss to the tip of her nose. "If being mischievous makes you laugh like this, then I'll be mischievous every day." Yin fell silent for a moment, her heart racing under Jungkook's intense yet tender gaze. But there was something different this time. Their eyes seemed to speak for them, as if they both understood the unspoken thought between them. Jungkook suddenly exhaled deeply, closing his eyes, a faint groan slipping from his lips. Yin looked at him, confused. "What's wrong? Are you tired?" Jungkook opened his eyes slowly, his gaze soft but full of meaning. His lips curved into a faint smile. "You're such a tease." Yin furrowed her brows. "A tease? Why are you saying that all of a sudden?" With a gentle but honest look, Jungkook leaned closer, his voice low. "Because you asked about another way to fall asleep. And now, whether I want it or not, my thoughts keep drifting there." Yin's eyes widened, her face heating up instantly. Jungkook, she whispered sharply, caught between shock and embarrassment. She bit her lip, trying to hide the fluster that washed over her. Jungkook chuckled softly, his gaze unwavering. I mean it, baby, and you know, since our first night, I've wanted to again, but I held back. I didn't want you to feel pressured. I wanted to focus on helping you break free from those sleep aids first. That was more important to me than my own desire. His voice was sincere, almost fragile. But when you brought it up just now, honestly, He trailed off, but his eyes spoke clearly enough. Yin's heart pounded in her chest. She understood his meaning, and though she was embarrassed, she felt the same. With flushed cheeks, she finally whispered so softly it was almost inaudible. In that case, I do too. I want it too. Jungkook's eyes widened slightly before a smile of pure relief and happiness spread across his face. Are you serious? He asked, needing to be sure. Yin nodded shyly, lowering her gaze. Yes, I want to feel it again. Tonight? Without waiting any longer, Jungkook cupped Yin's face with both hands, gazing at her with all the love in his eyes before finally pressing his lips against hers. The kiss was deep, full of emotion, yet tender, as if he wanted to pour all his love into that single touch. Yin returned the kiss, hesitant at first, but slowly melting into the warmth Jungkook offered. Her fingers unconsciously gripped his shirt tightly, as if she never wanted to let go. The golden glow of the bedside lamp wrapped the room in a soothing calm, enveloping them in gentle warmth. Between the kiss, Jungkook whispered, I love you, baby. Yin closed her eyes, her lips curving into a faint but heartfelt smile, before finally allowing herself to be carried away in her husband's embrace. That night, they became one again, not just as husband and wife, but as two souls that truly completed each other, filling in each other's missing pieces. And when everything was over, Yin drifted into sleep in Jungkook's arms, without sleeping pills, only with the warmth and love of her husband as her truest comfort.